You're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Green Bay Packers content. Created for the fans by the fans. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know whenever we go live. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Packers_access. Go Pack Go. Enjoy the show.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay. I'm trying to text Mandy and say, hey, the game's actually on ABC, not ESPN. So I was in the middle of doing that read. That's how professional we are here. You know what I mean? Tim, how you doing tonight? Buy me about 45 seconds here, bro.
Oh, I'm doing great. It's Victory Monday night. Hopefully hell will freeze over and the Bears will actually do what they're supposed to do and win a ball game tonight. But you never know. I'm just glad that we won and took care of business last night. And, of course, all things considered, things could be a lot worse, right? We could be Bears fans right now, hoping to just salvage a win here towards the end of the year. But I'll tell you what, Packer Nation, we're certainly pulling for the Bears if you're looking at these NFC playoff pictures and hoping to leapfrog the Vikings. We could certainly use a Minnesota loss tonight for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say we're all Bears fans tonight. There's no doubt about that. And obviously the game just got kicked off, so we'll give you guys updates as the game goes along.
But we can't say that without saying this.
The Bears still suck.
We can root for them, and they can suck. Both can be true, right, Tim? That's just the way that goes. So
exactly. It's not like we're actually rooting for the Bears. We're just rooting against the Vikings tonight, really.
Okay. All right, Tim, we're pretty deep into this Victory Monday. It's been a blast, too, man. The interaction on Twitter has been great, especially watching the Lions fans pout around because they got their ass kicked. Although the score looked a lot closer than that game actually was.
Yeah.
There was many times you could tell that the Bills kind of were playing with their food a little bit. Lions come back, that type of thing. But obviously the standings get a little bit shook up. And I believe these are up to date. I think I did it right before we went live earlier today. So you see the Packers are still sitting in the 6th seed. The Lions now sitting at 12-2. The Philadelphia Eagles, I would love for the Eagles to just snatch that number 1 seed away from them, man. I'm an Eagles fan from here on out, gang. That's how that's going to work.
Yep.
So, and obviously the Lions got 3 more games to play here as well. We'll see how they do down the stretch. But as it sits right now, the Packers are the 6th seed, and they got a comfortable lead over the Seattle Seahawks in terms of potentially falling to the 7th seed. So you've actually got a 2-game lead on the Seahawks, plus you got the head-to-head tiebreaker, right? So that'll kind of come into play a little bit there as well. And, of course, Washington is just 1 game behind us in the 7th seed. So feel really good, man. You win these next couple games, you're going to finish in the 6th seed, possibly the 5th seed. So anything you want to add to the standings, how they sit right now, man?
Yeah, I mean, that's the name of the game, right? Like we really need Minnesota to catch that 3rd loss. That'll start to make things a little interesting and kind of put our destiny in our own hands as we grind out these last 3 games of the year. We got the Vikings and the Bears to round out the season after this Monday night game against the Saints. So any help we can get would be greatly appreciated. We haven't had much this year. Now's as good a time as any, right? Hopefully the Bears squeak one out tonight for sure.
Yeah. I hope so too, man. Really do. And you never know when they may get hot down the stretch here, especially seeing they've got the coaching change and all that. Minnesota, they just continue to find a way to win ball games as they have the rock here with 12 minutes left in the first quarter. Game pretty much just begun. Sam Darnold just missed Jordan Addison on a 2nd and 5 throw. We're looking at 3rd and 5 here. Like I said, roughly 12 minutes left in the first quarter as the game just gets going. Now, as far as the Packers schedule and the remaining schedule here, you got the New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football. Listen, that could be a trap game. We talk about it all the time. Any game in the league could be a trap game. They played pretty decent. They almost beat the Commanders, right? Took them down to no time left on the clock, decided to go for 2 as opposed to tie it up and send it to overtime. And was it Spencer Rattler was the quarterback, I believe. And you guys know at one point Spencer Rattler was like the top prospect, right? He was one of the highest recruited quarterbacks coming out of high school, goes to college, and things definitely didn't go his way. I think he went to Oklahoma, ended up transferring to South Carolina, dropped way far down in the draft. So he's got some talent. He's got some arm talent, no doubt about it. But the Saints are pretty banged up themselves. So, again, you can't overlook them, but you just got to come out there on Monday Night Football and take care of business, man. Get that dub and then reset for Minnesota on December 29th, which should be a 1 o'clock kickoff or a 12 noon Central kickoff there. And then, of course, we got the Chicago Bears in Week 18 that they're looking to potentially flex, with that being the oldest rivalry in the National Football League. So the remaining schedule here, Tim, for me, man, I feel good about winning 2 of the last 3, possibly winning out. But you can't overlook New Orleans and Chicago either, man.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's what Matt LaFleur is preaching to his team right now. You know, it's easy when you get towards the end of the season, you start seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, and you can kind of get ahead of yourself. We cannot forget about this Saints team. Yeah, it's a Monday night game, primetime at home. That's great. You know, 2 out of 3 of these last ones at Lambeau Field. That's awesome and everything. But you can't sleep on this New Orleans Saints team because you know, for the same reasons we said we can't sleep on Seattle last night. And you know, luckily we didn't, and we took care of business. I firmly believe you know, the Saints game is going to be kind of the same MO. You know, play some solid defense. Trust that your offense is going to put a 30-burger plus on the board again, and just get that dub, right? You talked about that, beating the teams that you're supposed to beat, you know, and we've been doing that all year. So I hope we don't have a hiccup here against the Saints, and I think we can take care of business at home for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. No doubt. Let's go to the chat real quick. I know it's absolutely lit up in here. Joseph in the chat said, I was at the game yesterday. Let me fix that for you, Tim. Sorry about that. I was at the game yesterday. Absolutely amazing experience seeing us completely take over the stadium. I would say 30 to 40% Packer fans. We absolutely spoiled a night when Seattle was honoring 12th man. Go Pack, go. So, yeah. And here's the thing, like the Lions fans are chiming in going, we took over your stadium, and they're always showing the picture where everyone left the stadium. And there's just, you know, like what it looks like maybe 10% of the stadium capacity is Lions fans that hung around after all the Packer fans went home after the game, right? And they're saying, see, we did it to you. That's a bunch of BS this year. I thought we showed up really, really strong this year against the Lions from a fan base standpoint. Yep. Seattle, all the pictures you see, Tim, Joseph's hitting the nail on the head here, man. The stadium's full, and it looks like damn near half of the stadium is Packer fans.
And I guarantee you half of those Packer fans all live in Seattle, or they're close to that area. You know, we travel very well as a fan base, but we're also represented worldwide, right? There's Packer fans in every nook and cranny of this beautiful ball we live on. So I would be willing to bet that, you know, maybe 20 to 25% of those fans may not have even got on an airplane. They may have just jumped in the car and drove over to the stadium for the game and representing the Pack. So I love it. And you're absolutely right. We can't take that lightly, man. You know, the Seahawks, man, playing out there that I keep wanting to call it CenturyLink. I know it's Lumen Field now or whatever. But that is one of the more difficult places to play in the National Football League, and to see us take over like that you can't take that lightly either, man. That says something, and that's why, you know, a lot of the players after the game, you know, paid some respect to the fan base for doing that and really showing support and kind of taking over enemy territory. And we also heard Coach LaFleur talk about it in his presser too, that it was a huge lift and a huge boost for the guys, you know, when they're on defense here and Go Pack Go. And you couldn't be further from home, but it feels like a home game. So I think Joseph is spot on here. I mean, that's awesome, man. I wish I was at that game. That would have been great.
Definitely. Joseph also went on to say, and my guy Adrian showed out, human missile on the field, who is always around the ball. He's going to be elite for many years to come. And it was so cool too, Tim. Like I said in the pregame, this is what he put on his Instagram. And it's just that little shot of Michael Myers staring around the edge of the tree. So
here's the guy.
I love that he's kind of embraced that persona, right? You know, like when you look at Tucker Kraft, it's funny. Some people have put Tucker Kraft out there with the hockey mask on, like Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. And now you got Edgerrin Cooper on the defensive side of the ball putting these shots of Michael Myers up. I love it, dude. I don't know about you. I'm an old school horror flick fan, right? Yeah. I'm that dude that grew up in the 80s and 90s, back when horror films weren't just, hey, let's make it as gory as possible, right?
Right.
Although in the late 80s, it did burst onto the scene.
Yeah, it took a turn.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, so Edgerrin Cooper, I love that he's kind of embracing this for sure.
I think it's awesome because, I mean, you think of that character, right? Michael Myers, right? It like kind of doesn't really say anything, kind of expressionless, kind of just methodically moves around and does what he does.
Just pops up out of nowhere. Right?
Yeah, kind of like, you know, Edge Coop did last night on the football field, right? You know, I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, and when they originally made that movie, he was called the Shape, right? That was the character's name, was the Shape. It was supposed to kind of feel like that, like he just kind of this shape moving in the shadows type thing, and ends up being obviously a mental patient that escaped, and you guys, I'm sure you've seen it just like I have 1,000 times. So it's a classic for us. When we get to October, we put it on a couple times a year for sure, as we get ready for the Halloween festivities there in October. But Andres in the chat, defense heating up again. Yes, sir, they are. It's so cool too, because like we've kept up pretty much the whole year, Tim, and really focusing on what are they strategically trying to do this week? What are they trying to do, the next week? What does this team do really well? What does this team do, kind of bad? And what you've seen with the Seattle Seahawks, we knew they like to throw the ball around a lot, so we did a lot of fire zone blitzes. Did a lot of situations where I've seen Carl Brooks drop into coverage on a fire zone blitz. I've seen JJ Enigbare drop into cover on a fire zone blitz. So we did a lot of 4-man rushes. We simulated 6-man pressure, and we ended up dropping 2 of those guys out. In some cases, it was an edge defender. Like, if I remember correctly, the Edgerrin Cooper sack there in the first quarter, which we're going to hit on, obviously, on Chalk Talk tomorrow, it was a fire zone blitz where they ran a mock T stunt, meaning Edgerrin Cooper, who was playing mock on that specific play, was going to go first, occupy a double team, and allow Kenny to loop around. And if the double team slides with Kenny, then the edge is cleared out to hit the quarterback, and that's exactly what happened. And then on the from the offensive perspective, over the right tackle, you had JJ Enigbare dropping the coverage. It's what we call a fire zone blitz. It was a cover 3 mock fire, and I would refer to it as a 55 drop, meaning JJ Enigbare's jersey number 55. So really, really cool to see the defense heating up. Again, I thought they showed up and showed out. And there's a lot of people still complaining about this offense, and I can't help you. Like, we've scored 30 points the last 2 games. I cannot help you.
Yeah, I have nothing to say to those people at all.
Yeah, and listen, fan how you want to fan. It's cool, and I know our listeners, 99% of our listeners don't feel like that, but it's just, man, it's frustrating as a fan base. It's you just got to kind of hit mute and move on. Like, I'm not going to argue. I'm just not going to do it. I've done really good this week, Tim. Like, I've stayed away from the arguments on social media. It's just pointless, right? It's like when you're convicted in how you feel about something, it's like, okay, if I go and show all of these statistics, all the analytics, the tape, everything, I'm proving someone else wrong and making their day worse, right? So why do it? Let's just move on. So it's kind of the point we're at. But the defense is definitely heating up. Exactly. Andres also went on to say Jordan Love throwing dimes. Man, he again, he missed some throws. There's no doubt about it. No, he wasn't perfect. But the fact that, once again, protecting the football, that's the top priority, man. You throw a couple touchdown passes, you move the ball down the field, you take what they're giving you underneath, you're keeping your offense in a good position in terms of trying to maximize what you can out of the run game, even though they've got a stacked box against you. And finding a way to get Josh Jacobs involved in the game plan, even though you couldn't get him the rock as effectively as you wanted to, even though he did get it, 26 times, 25 times on the ground. So 30 touches for Josh Jacobs. And I thought Jordan Love did an excellent job just kind of playing point guard. You know what I mean?
I agree. And it's not, you can't call him a game manager, right? Like you said, it's more of a point guard. You're running that offense. You're taking shots when you get an opportunity to take a shot, and then you're playing conservative and just passing it off when you need to. And I think, the moral of the story is with Jordan, man, he's getting better every single week. And this is a trend that I hope continues. And I still don't feel like we're even close to his full potential. I think the more football he plays, the better he's going to get. And we're at the beginning of one hell of a ride for Jay Money's career. So I agree with Andreas there in the chat for sure. They gave him number 10 because he only throws dimes. I've been telling you guys this since 2020. Let's go.
Caleb Williams just got blindsided. Fumble, sack, strip sack, whatever you want to call it. I thought it was his head that popped off. It was actually the football. And
the Bears still suck.
So Minnesota recovers it and almost returns it for a touchdown as Blake Cashman picked it up, of course. Van Ginkel completely ignored a block. He was looking too far downfield and got Cashman absolutely crushed.
Yeah, so all that crap I was saying at the top of the show about the Bears are going to get a win. Yeah, forget it. It's not going to happen.
It's early, Tim. It's early. Let's have faith.
Yeah, but it's come on.
it's still the Bears.
It's still the Bears. Yeah, it's a wrap.
All right, Joseph in the chat says, +2 amazing catches, Watson sideline and Romeo with the final touchdown. They both made chalk talk. That's another one, like when we're talking about the negative fans, showed that Christian Watson catch in slow motion, that back shoulder throw, and the guy said, Jordan Love underthrew him. It's like,
oh, my God, idiot. Idiot.
Back shoulder. No, he was supposed to throw deep. I'm going, oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't do this.
I love it because, when it comes to these receivers, let's be real. Nobody's caught more hate from the fan base than Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. So I love that they balled out last night for sure.
Yes.
And I just love Rome's attitude, too. They were trying to get him hype about his performance, and he just played it cooler than a polar bear's toenails, man. I love it.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Mountain Man Pack says, Rome is a dog, and I love his press conferences. Co-signing that statement, sir, for sure, for sure. I love it. Romeo's got this kind of it's like a quiet swagger, right? It's like a quiet, reserved, but extremely confident in himself and his abilities, and not here for any nonsense or theatrics. He's all ball, all business, man. I love it.
If you guys haven't seen that, I chose not to retweet it, but you can go find it on Twitter. It's hilarious. They asked Romeo this big, long, drawn-out question. He said, I just tried to catch the ball. It was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, right? Dude, amazing. Love it.
Venom Slash, good to see you, buddy. He says, there you go. Jordan Love is signing autographs at Lambeau tonight, one day after beating the Seahawks. That's our QB. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He was supposed to do it last week. They had a scheduling conflict, and they rescheduled it to tonight. And it's awesome what they do over there at the Atrium. I believe Edrin Cooper's there too. I think there's a handful of other guys there with Jordan signing autographs for donations for the Salvation Army, I believe. So that's awesome. Love it.
Yeah, it definitely is. And again, Venom hitting the nail on the head. Like, what else could you ask for in your starting quarterback? Forget the on the field stuff for a second. Like, don't get me wrong. There's very few turds in the NFL that play starting quarterback. They know they're the CEO of their organization, right?
Yep.
But man, Jordan is just like above and beyond, helping fans get their car unstuck last year in the snowstorm, right? And just him. The thing that really hit my heart heavy was last year when he, while you're going into an election cycle, you got all this division with police officers and this and that, and some portion of the public painting every police officer out to be this just evil person, right? And Jordan, what did he do? He chose to go and meet with the local police department, show his, hey, I'm unified with these guys and gals, and obviously both parents being police officers growing up. It's just he's a damn class act, man. And obviously he got engaged this off season, and when they decide to raise a family, boy, you talking about some world class athletes. Because Ronica, right? That's her name, Ronica.
Yeah,
dude, she's a dog. She's an athlete, bro.
Yeah,
yeah.
For
Both
sure.
of them, and she's looks like she's just as tall as Jordan is. So they're gonna have.
Yeah.
They're probably going to raise a half a dozen basketball players in that household. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right, though. I mean, it's like the fact that they're great athletes is like, it's secondary. These, those are two really good young people, and you'd rather be remembered as a good person than a good player, first and foremost. And I look at Jordan Love, man. He's just a good dude who happens to be a professional athlete, and we're blessed to have him here in Green Bay for sure.
Yeah. Daryl in the chat says Carrington Valentine's first interception was awesome. It was intended for tight end Noah Fant. Valentine was there to nab the ball away. It made chalk talk, and just an excellent play. And what's crazy is I haven't broke the play down completely, but just the first pass through, cutting the clip, getting everything. It's like a 5-step process to do chalk talk. I got to get everything organized, the clip edited, and then I got to go through and actually watch and break down, each diagram of the play. But if I was looking at it correctly, to me, it looked like it was man coverage. And he broke off of his guy. He was covering his guy using that, I think they call it that fisheye technique, looking at the quarterback through his way and broke off his coverage and intercepted the ball, if I remember correctly. So
yeah, I think you were right, because I remember seeing more man than I expected to see. Did you feel that way last night? I felt like we were in man coverage a little bit more than normal.
It could have been, there's a couple times that I noticed match coverage. So
Okay.
sometimes that can appear like man, but
yeah.
we'll break it down though. Any of those, like Edgerrin Cooper's interception was obviously zone, right?
Right.
If I remember correctly, like I said, Carrington Valentine's. The reason I think it was man, just in the initial watch, and again, I'll be able to tell y'all for sure when I go break it down tomorrow before Chalk Talk. They motioned, I think it was Jackson Smith and Jigba out wide, and Carrington ended up looking at Keyshawn and they switched. So that's typically indicative of Keyshawn, his design or his responsibility was to guard Jackson Smith and Jigba or not, right? When you're in man coverage, that type of thing. So that's what made me think it was man. And I want to say they sent Jackson Smith and Jigba kind of across the middle, and the ball went to Noah Fant, which was being covered, I believe, by Evan Williams, if I remember correctly. And the guy that Carrington Valentine was supposed to cover ran like a little out route or something, or flat. And Carrington, watching the quarterback covering his guy, seen it, turned around and went and nabbed it, even though he was in man coverage. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So like I said, we'll get you the answer tomorrow for sure. Go ahead, Tim. Mrs. Green says, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I had to put it up.
Yeah.
The wife. Tim Dang there had a heart attack when Val caught that ball in the end zone. That's right. It was half from excitement of the interception and half screaming at him to take a knee.
Yeah.
And stop trying to return it.
Like I said, Mandy heard me from downstairs. When I came downstairs, she said, "What the hell was Valentine doing?" And I went, I said, "I know." And she went, "I know you know because I heard you." She heard me say, "Get on the effing ground." That's exactly the words that I screamed. I know the neighbors.
Heard it from a fan right here.
They probably had 911 on speed dial, ready to go. Man. But, anyway, Drew D in the chat. This was not the week to be a negative fan, LOL. It really wasn't, man. It's like there's been plenty of opportunities this year to go, man, this team isn't playing like they should. Again, I think it's just those people that they just wait, man. They wait for the second that something goes wrong, and then it's all right, let's tweet about it. Let's get it out there. It's a miserable way to fan for sure. Coach Lynn in the chat says Cooper is a savage for that post talking about the Michael Myers post. Yeah, it's just setting the tone, man. No doubt about it. What I noticed about him and what you're really looking for in a rookie, Tim, is I think his allergies are killing me. Is you're looking for someone that the game isn't too big for, and when he's on the field, it doesn't look like he's trying to match the speed of his opponents. It looks like he's dictating the speed of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Imposing his will out there, for sure. And certainly for a rookie, looks extremely comfortable playing in the NFL, for sure. I mean, you almost have to remind yourself that he's a rookie sometimes when you see him out there playing the game because he looks like a seasoned vet. Like you mentioned last night in the post game, like it's hard to find a weakness in his game. I'm sure we could talk to Jeff Hafley and Coach Camp. They might disagree and say that there's a lot of things that they want him to work on, but one thing's for sure is that's the future at linebacker for us for at least the next few years here in Green Bay. I have no doubt in my mind that they'll be picking up the option or giving him a massive contract extension when the time is right. But it's awesome to have him here right now as a rookie and just to see him playing at this level. It's amazing. We could say the same thing about a few other guys on the team too, like Evan Williams, and obviously Javon Bullard before the injury. But it's just awesome. It's a testament to Goody's skills and the scouting department when it comes to getting these guys in the draft and this staff putting them in a position to succeed. I mean, every time Edgerrin Cooper's hit the field for us this year, he's made an impact. Even in the games that, early on when they peppered him in, he was getting 5, 6, 7 snaps. He was making an impact. And now, the cat's out of the bag, right? It's no secret anymore. Everybody in the NFL knows who Edge Cooper is now after last night. And he is. I think Collinsworth was absolutely right on the broadcast. We were watching the birth of a rising star right here in this league. And that's Edge Coop for sure.
Yeah. 2-0 for this in the chat said, if you're a negative fan now, don't celebrate with the team later. Amen.
I love that. Yep.
Somebody said something about the Bears one time. They were acting like a Bears fan. They said, if you're not with us when we're whatever it was, when we got 2 wins, then don't be with us when we got 4. That's what they said. It was obviously they used the entire total, and it was a couple years ago, but that broke me up, man.
I love it.
So the Vikings are leading 10-0 in the first quarter. So the route seems to be on. Let me give you guys a little play call here. 1st and 10, a little nasty split. Looks like they're in 12 personnel. Caleb hands it off, and got a gain of about 5, I guess, something like that. So we'll see.
I'll give you a little play-by-play.
The Bears still suck.
Dynamite drop in, Monty. That broadcast school really paid off. All right, let's get into it. Let's go through Twitter real quick and just kind of see what came down the pike. I've been showing different angles of this play all day long, Tim. And obviously this guy, let's see, at Clippin' Rippin' on Twitter, he had screenshotted the video I had shared and put carnage, right? And I said, look at that crime scene. I mean, Josh Jacobs just absolutely owning a Seahawks linebacker.
That was just right shoulder to the sternum, right? And just ended this guy's day, basically. You're now
just
a meme.
very gradual.
Congratulations.
It wasn't even like he put his whole body into it either. It was just kind of like a little glancing blow. But Pack Daddy Ryan Schlip tweeted this out earlier. It said Justin Fields fan club was the original tweeter. It says Justin Fields is headed to the playoffs for the first time in his career. Superstar. And Ryan Schlip had retweeted it and put, on the same week the Bears got eliminated, the NFL gods hate the Bears more than I do. So Justin Fields finally making it to a playoff appearance, Tim. Pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that I don't think he was the problem down there, right? I guess history has proven us correct. It wasn't him, although we gave him plenty of crap during his tenure as the Bears quarterback. But we had a feeling when this deal happened that he was going to be utilized in Mike Tomlin's system in a complementary way with Russell Wilson, and you see it happening now. And the Steelers are, they're a playoff team, and the Bears still suck. So I think the joke is definitely on Chicago. It's not on Justin Fields at this point.
Yeah. Ben Thorne in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. Says, can we have Green Bay play in their winter white uniforms the rest of the season? I'll be all about it. I love them. And I'm I'm not superstitious, but I am one of these. I played, playing.
I am baseball. A little suspicious.
Yeah, just a little not super, just a little. There is this kind of this thing though about me that's like I love a routine, right? And maybe that is superstitious. I don't know, but I don't look at it like, oh crap, if I don't do this, we're going to lose. It's going to be a bad day. It's just kind of like, hey, that worked last time. Let's jump into that,
Right. So there is a chance we could though, in theory, right? Because the home team gets to choose the uniforms, right? So we'd be at home against the Saints. If we opted to wear white, we would wear white. And then we're on the road in Minnesota, which means we would wear white on the road like we did last night in Seattle. And then we'd be back home for the Bears game in week 18, which we would be able to wear white again. So, this isn't entirely that crazy of a proposal. I think Ben's onto something here. Maybe they will wear their all whites the rest of the year.
Yeah, definitely. So again, it's pretty cool seeing, like I said, Justin Fields make it to the playoffs. In terms of the uniform, I'd be all about it too. I think they're probably looking at it from a business standpoint though, like, hey, we want to sell green jerseys too. We want to sell the home jerseys too. So don't kid yourself into thinking it's just about, hey, what looks the best, right? It's how can you maximize profit, and it's a business, and that's the way it is, right? It's
Green Bay. It's all about that cheddar, right? All about the cheese, man.
All about the cheese. Kieran in the chat says, I'm a trucker and I was rocking the G today on my way to make a delivery, and the Lions fan was giving me the I can't stand you look. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. So be safe out there on the road there, Kieran. Appreciate you, bub. All right. So
you should have looked at the Lions fan and gave him the old throat slice, right? Like the before the game. That would have been great.
Exactly. All right, 33rd team with a tweet here. It says quarterbacks with a higher success rate than Jordan Love since week 10. So obviously we're getting ready to enter week 16, right? So for the last 6 weeks or the last 5 weeks, the only quarterbacks to have a higher success rate than Jordan Love are Jared Goff and Josh Allen. That's it. So Toyota-thon in full effect here for sure, man.
Yep.
See, Siggy in the chat says certain Packers per day pundit has anxiety over Reed's punt receiving skills. Another post cried about Reed falling down on a third down pass attempt. Can't we enjoy the Packers' dominance? Yeah, I mean,
that's terrible.
The main thing, Siggy, and this is no way is a shot at anyone specifically. When you can create a little bit of a rift, speaking point, conversation piece, if you will, that's going to get the likes, that's going to get the views, that's going to get the retweets, that's going to get the responses. Many times that's what people go for, right? That show sucks and it's boring. We're not going to do that. We're not going to try to stir up controversy. Now, if we think something's real and it's legit, yeah, we'll hit it. But yeah, again though, Jordan Love here, Tim, on fire, dude, on fire.
Yeah, I mean, I love the comps, right? I mean, these are, Josh Allen's clearly going to run away with the MVP, I think, this year. And, Jared Goff, check down merchant or not, I mean, the guy's putting up impressive numbers this season. So Jordan is in the company that he should be in, right? With the top tier quarterbacks in the NFL. Like a lot of us had always believed from day one that Jordan was the heir apparent. He is him. And I'm just watching Love develop, man, and watching this continue because like I said, I still feel like we're just at the tip of the iceberg right now when it comes to what he can do and what this team can do going forward, especially with a couple more drafts under Goody's belt and loading up with more talent. Jordan's just going to continue to improve and so will the Packers. So this is a good place to be right now, year 2 as a starter. I'll take it.
Yeah. Sneeze is going to catch up to me, Tim. It's right around the corner. I'm telling you.
Here's a sneeze.
I keep fighting it off. iRock says, what is Toyotathon? All right. So for those of you who don't know, when we mentioned Jordan Love and Toyotathon, this is the best way to explain it. Okay. And I seen this tweet and I laughed my ass off, Tim. All right. So, this meme gets used a lot right here. Right.
Yep.
So it's a picture of this dude at a ball game with glasses on. He looks like frat boy. And I guess it's his girlfriend sitting there. And she looks so disinterested in what the hell he's saying. I'm explaining this for the podcast listeners. And he's just right up in her face. And he's just deep into a story, right? And Tyler Brook on Twitter tweeted this out and said, so the Packers quarterback Jordan Love plays really well in the cold months, which coincides directly with the hit holiday sale Toyotathon. It's fascinating because he was playing really poorly, but looks like a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback whenever Toyotathon hits. And it's got the Packers in a great spot to secure a playoff spot and a deep playoff run. However, Toyotathon typically ends in January during the playoffs and before the Super Bowl. Some people want the Packers to actually campaign to extend Toyotathon to keep the magic alive. So love the meme there that Tyler used on Twitter. But yeah, so basically to sum it up for you there, iRock, Toyotathon's a sale they do every year, right? And it seems like every year when that sale kicks off, I think it's in November and through December, right, Tim? Jordan Love just cranks it up. So everybody has immediately said, no, it doesn't have anything to do with the adjustments of the second half or a quarterback getting hot. Hell no, it's Toyotathon. That's what this is. So, right. Did I miss anything there with that explanation?
No, that's pretty accurate. And I'm sure iRock totally knows what Toyotathon is. He just didn't understand the correlation between Jordan Love and the Packers and Toyotathon. But no, it's so true though. Like, you hope it does. We want to keep that. I think Toyota should just go ahead and extend it year round. Like this just have a Toyotathon year, and then we can go ahead and put this to bed because I think this will be the year the Packers are definitely going to get over the hump when it comes to the playoff picture.
Mm-hmm. Coach Lynn in the chat said the real question is why has Toyota not come to Jordan for an endorsement or a commercial? So true. It's kind of like Aaron getting started with the whole State Farm, right? Back in the day, the discount double check. You guys remember that? That really took off. They thought that was just going to be like a one-time thing. Hey, it's funny, Man, that stuck around for, gosh, seemed like a decade, didn't it?
That's true. It's very true.
All right. So we're over here trying to sell endorsements for our boy Jordan Love. Go ahead.
Hey, Professor Cake's killing it right here. Hey, Toyota makes the Tundra. Green Bay is known as the Frozen Tundra.
Imagine a special edition Toyota Frozen
Tundra edition.
Oh, come on.
A little icy white, right? That would be nice.
Hell, we talking football, Tim. We should be running. A Fortune 500 company right now. You kidding me? All right. Up next, the highest graded Packers in Week 15 versus the Seahawks, according to PFF. This came out from PFF Green Bay Packers, and we're going to hit the PFF grades here shortly. But the highest graded Packers in Week 15 versus the Seahawks. Number 1, Edgerrin Cooper settles in at a 93.8 PFF grade. Number 2, Carrington Valentine with a 90.2. Number 3, Zach Tom with an 83.2. Number 4, Kenny Clark with a 79.5. That's 2 weeks in a row that Kenny Clark's right around the 80 mark. Last week he eclipsed it, I believe. This week he's a half a point away from it. And then Romeo Dobbs, a 78.7. Just an absolute freaking dog as well. So Edgerrin Cooper and Carrington Valentine, man, along with your boy right there, Romeo Dobbs too, and you want to see Kenny Clark continuing to be consistent, and Zach Tom is just Zach Tom. He's going to be good every week, man.
Did we figure out, was that a typo on that other tweet?
I didn't check back listen, when it's game day, 24 hours before, 24 hours after, I can't even read my notifications. Yeah. Like they just go freaking nuts, and I can't keep up with anything. So they may have responded. I actually asked that question. It was Jacob Morley, right?
I think that was who tweeted it.
Yeah.
It was, I believe so.
I'm going to go see.
But I don't think there's any way he allowed 12 pressures.
No.
Did Seattle have 12 pressures in the game?
No. Yeah. But my whole thought was, did it mean to be? Did he mean for it to be 2? Like I'd like to know the actual.
Right. Or is it 1? Yeah. Right. And you know what? To your point, it's true. It's like they're trying to get this info out like as it comes in so fast that like a typo is probably the most logical explanation. So it certainly isn't Zach Tom giving up 12 pressures. I know that didn't happen.
Yeah, and I just checked it too. Jacob Morley 7 hours ago said, "Lordy, bad typo. Zach Tom allowed 2 pressures, not 12." So
there it is.
We're good there. So
perfect.
Get that confirmed. But again, man, these players balling out. Again, we'll hit the PFF grades here in just a second. We'll rattle through those real quick. Let's just kind of roll on through the old Twitterverse here. And let's see, David Bakhtiari. This was interesting. I thought it'd be a good conversation to have. Might as well have it right now. Adam Schefter pointed out all of these injuries from the Detroit Lions. Lions' notable defensive injuries this season: defensive end Aiden Hutchinson, defensive tackle Aleem McNeil, defensive lineman Marcus Davenport, defensive lineman John Kaminsky, linebackers Alex Anzalone, Malcolm Rodriguez, Derek Barnes, Jalen Reeves-Maben, cornerbacks Carlton Davis, Enos Rakestraw Jr., and Emmanuel Mosley, and then safety Mela Fanu. All right. So with that being said, David Bakhtiari responds and says, which field surface did they get hurt on? Ask him for a friend.
Big Dave. I love it.
You guys remember, wasn't it Detroit where Rashawn Gary trashed his knee, and I think Elton did too? Yep. Same place, right?
Yep. Big Dave screwed his up on turf too. And I love that even not being an active player right now, he's kind of like the self-appointed director of the committee to remove artificial playing surfaces from the NFL. And, Big Dave always, every time he tweets, it's usually gold. So I love it.
Yeah, I agree, man. I like that it pisses so many people off when he tweets. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. So, yeah. I love it.
But again, I think there is something to that, man. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And, the numbers suggest that grass, you get less knee injuries on grass, right? Mm-hmm. And been pretty vocal about it. Now, the league will try to convince you, no, that's not the case, but obviously the numbers are the numbers. So
I think the fact that artificial playing surfaces have come so far, like that we're so far away from that old, carpeting over concrete like they used to play on turf. Considering that we have the best artificial playing surfaces ever created in human history, and these guys are still destroying their knees. Right. On these fields, it leads more evidence to believe that like maybe an all-out ban and just play on natural, or at least 50% natural surfaces. Hybrid surface or better. I'm not a fan of turf, and I've always said the only thing dumber than turf is turf outdoors. See a lot of stadiums that have artificial surface and they've got an open roof stadium, so now you're exposing this artificial surface to real world elements, and it just can be a recipe for disaster for sure.
Yeah. Harry Cheese in the chat says, guys that play on the turf say it's still way harder on your joints. I asked Mike Wall about this, and he said, because I was asking, is it like the cleats getting stuck with it? He said, no. He said, it's like playing on a trampoline. Like mm-hmm. the field gives. It's like it's very bouncy, and that's horrible on your joints. So he was very adamant in that regard about, hey, this is an issue. When we had that conversation, I think it was last year, maybe the year before. So Joe in the chat says, I don't feel bad for Lions fans. You want to play rough nonstop. Unfortunately, this is the result. Ask Baltimore. I was thinking about that today, Joe. Like everyone talks about, especially in the mainstream sports media, they talk about, man, this Detroit Lions team's tough. They're tough. And I'm going, how tough are you that you got that many injuries? Doesn't tough mean you don't get hurt? Tough means you play through stuff, right? And you go, okay, well, Clayton, season-ending injury is a season-ending injury. Touche. That's very well said.
Yep.
Now, on the flip side, when you play out of control like that, guess what happens? Your players get hurt. So there you go, man.
Yeah, get in your car and put the pedal to the metal and drive 125 miles an hour everywhere you go and see how long it takes for your engine to explode. It's going to happen.
Yep. As Coach Lynn says, good point. And again, I heard it said one time, if you're going to be stupid, you better be tough, right? You can't, it's just the way it is.
You have to be stupid and weak, man. Not a good look.
So I tagged Kyle Brandt with another angle of this screenshot here of Josh Jacobs absolutely running through the Seahawks player's face, and put hashtag angry runs and tagged Kyle Brandt. So if you guys are on Twitter, go give that a retweet. Let's see if we can get Josh Jacobs that angry runs award, because it was a thing of beauty, no doubt about it.
You think that Bears apologist Kyle Brandt is gonna allow a Packer probably not. Yeah.
I think since he started doing angry runs, I think it's been one time that we won the award, and I think it was AJ Dillon. It was
I think it was. Yep.
That's the only time I can remember. So this right here, this dot to Romeo Dobbs, just absolutely on the money, right? We had shared that last night, or actually this morning. I mean, just patient as all get out. Great job putting enough air under it to give Dobbs a chance to obviously cut underneath it. Now, if you go back to the guy who quote tweeted, I love this, KDG or at official 414 on Twitter, posted this picture of Jordan Love just standing straight up, right? Both hands not on the ball, just standing there like, give me just if he breaks open right here, we're going to drop a dime piece. And KDG on Twitter says, when Love do this, he about to hit you with some BS. So true, man. So shout out to official 414 KDG there. Beautiful tweet, man.
Great follow on Twitter for sure. And yeah, he's right, man. Great throw by Jordan, dude. I mean, we always talk about that, right? You throw it to where he's going to be, not where he is. And that was Jordan. I think Jordan knew Dobbs was there, but I think that was about as long as he looked at Rome. I think he was looking at that coverage and timing it and just, drop that ball in the bucket and trust that Rome's going to be there. And, like Rome says, I caught the ball.
Yeah, I caught the ball. That's what I do. Oh, we got Lincoln at the door in here. I think that was my signal. That's going to do it for hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side for hour two. We appreciate y'all.